This call is the initial global ETC call for Hurricane Alex. It made landfall in Dominica late on Tuesday around 9 p.m. local time, and the country of Dominica has basically been devastated.
So NetHope is a consortium of international NGOs, and we have now about 56 international NGO members. And what we do is we find opportunities between the humanitarian community and our tech partners to look at where we can address some of these common issues that they have using their technologies or their services or support. Communications is a lifeline of emergency response. So if you do have connectivity, you have communications, and then with that, you're able to respond a lot more efficiently.
Whether it is information for distribution or information you're gathering to pass along to decision makers, it is that core infrastructure on which everything else is built.
Disasters are complicated. There are many elements that have to come into coordinated action. If we don't have communications, we can't coordinate. Well, it's a basic tool for being able to run an operation in a modern context.
Okay, so the connectivity issues in a disaster setting, it affects everybody. So from the very, very get-go, we need to put connectivity in place for the responders. But the new emerging need is actually providing connectivity for the communities.
Their ability to self-organize is a critical element to being able to bring a society back into some kind of a sense of normalcy.
This training is very important to make sure that we can build a roster of skilled personnel.
We are running disaster response training, which is to prepare this region for the oncoming hurricane season.
And we are giving an extensive several-day session for participants who will eventually deploy with NetHope teams to help set up communications and connectivities. The participants in the training these 2 weeks include individuals from Facebook, Google, Amazon, Cisco, and Ericsson Response, as well as NetHope member agencies.
So we're going to take them through a typical deployment after a hurricane hits a small island in the Caribbean.
You never really learn from a classroom alone. You have to confront the challenges and have to learn it by practical training.
We're trying to put them through the whole gamut from deploying in austere environments to setting up technologies that we use throughout disaster responses for communications, including things like wireless networks, data connectivity, voice services, and things of that nature.
We're taking them through what a typical deployment would be like. Arriving in country, going through customs, going through immigration, meeting up with local emergency management people, meeting up with the emergency telecom cluster. They will then get assignments of places that need to be connected.
We actually say that the technology is the easy part. It's everything else that you have to deal with in a disaster that is challenging.
So being agile, being flexible, being able to survive in environments that are chaotic and austere, that's the critical skills.
You are sleeping in tents, if you're lucky enough to have a tent, or perhaps on the floor outside.
We're going into a situation where we really don't know anything when we get in. Things are very chaotic, yet you have a task at hand.
Really in the simulation where you get to put your hands on it and you get to experience firsthand what it's like to be setting up a network in the rain, in the field, in the heat, in the humidity. And that is what we do in a disaster. So to get that experience firsthand is very valuable in training.
Bringing the technologists into this space where they can experience humanitarian action. It gives them training necessary for having an effective response operation sometime in the future.
Our tech partners are very important to us. Their technologies that they offer, their resources, their staff, their volunteers.
NGOs, they focus on their core business, whereas these private companies can bring to the table their areas of expertise.
Facebook is at a disaster response training session because participating in providing connectivity after a crisis is something that is very closely related to the mission of the company. We're actively building an internal roster of Facebook volunteers.
Our staff really give their hearts out, especially in times of need. We do provide access to highly skilled individuals who are able to provide a ton of capacity to this organization.
You know, working in Facebook, you're really, really privileged as an employee there. Like you're really well supported. Facebook's all about building community, and I see the Crisis Connectivity Response Program as, you know, being something that's really sort of tangible in that mission.
Going out, setting up connectivity when it's raining, and then coming back when your feet are soaked, trying to catch a nap. It might sound terrible, but it was a really nice change.
This is truly one-of-a-kind experience. Even the fact that I'm with NGO and we have tech companies providing their staff members to participate in this kind of activity, we don't wear any label.
Me gustó que a pesar de que somos de diferentes naciones, de diferentes organizaciones, todos trabajamos para un bien común, que es apoyar a las personas y a los países necesitados.
I absolutely feel like I'm ready to be deployed. In just 48 hours, we had formed a team and formed the systems in place to get people connected.
And we were certainly stretched to our limits, physically and mentally. And I feel that we're much more prepared now to deploy.
I think the balance of having the awesome in-class instruction as well as super realistic in-field simulation was really effective.
You can never really be 100% ready, but what I think this course has given us is certainly the fundamentals to develop your own sense of readiness.
This is not just a training for the Caribbean hurricanes.
We want to take this to Africa, the Middle East, and Asia.
Unfortunately, it's inevitable, but there will be more emergencies. There will be more natural disasters, and that's something that we cannot control, so we have to prepare for. And what we're doing, this training, is part of building the capacity of our future responders.